to former Bush 43 Deputy Chief of Staff, multiple best-selling author Karl Rove. You know, Karl, I'm reminded of the fact that that could be a significant development in and of itself, since the senator opposed both the President Bush's tax cuts. A yay on these. What did you make of that?
Look, I made it part of a bigger picture that was important. Think about this. President Trump has a very poor relationship with Senator McCain. He recently used his tweet to launch a barrage of attacks at Senators Bob Corker and Jeff Flake. He's belittled Dean Heller. He's made comments about Susan Collins, and yet all of these skeptics about the tax bills have put their country, our economy, and their party ahead of whatever doubts they've got about the bill, and are supporting it.
Yeah, there is that. But in McCain's case, it's kind of interesting because whatever his thoughts are, the president, you know, this is going to increase the debt. Now, everyone makes a big deal of the $1.5 trillion in the tax revenues loss. No one says boo about the $9 trillion in just added spending that's, as things stand now, will be added to the debt. Be that as it may, on that issue alone, you would have thought McCain would be holding out, but he's not. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think it's because Senator McCain is able to make a difference between is leaving the tax code as it is today going to make America's economy stronger and do anything to close to solve our deficit problem? No, it's not. The CBO in March estimated we'd have $43 trillion in revenue over the next decade and $52 trillion in spending. And leaving the tax code as it is going to still leave us with a $9 trillion deficit. So if we pass the tax code, it will be fairer, simpler, compliance costs will drop, we'll be more competitive on the international stage. Some of the cost of the tax cut will be offset by economic growth. But as I said in my Wall Street Journal column this morning, the focus needs to be on restraining spending. We don't need to cut it from its current levels. We just need, over the next decade, mandatory spending, which is today 70% of the budget, will grow to 80% of the budget. And more importantly, it will increase by 78% over the next decade, while discretionary spending increases 18%, according to the CBO recommendation. So the Congress now needs to pass a tax reform bill and then turn its attention over the long haul to find $2.9 trillion in savings over the next 10 years out of $52 trillion of spending. It's got to find $2.9 trillion to keep the deficit at basically the level it is today, roughly equal to 75% of GDP.
And yet that is a Herculean task. You know,
it's difficult, no doubt about it.
Right.
No doubt about it. But vote no on the tax cut is going to do nothing to help that process.
You know, we're looking at the markets running fast and furious with this. You know, we talk about the fact they could rearrange the corporate rate, maybe not make it 20%, maybe 22%, to satisfy those who are have doubts about this, including making overtures. You mentioned the Wall Street Journal, your column, the same paper today, in its editorial talked about the moves of Marco Rubio and others to increase the child tax credit for those who pay no income taxes. They pay payroll tax. I don't minimize that. But even when I had him on, I mean, isn't that a slippery slope, Senator, to do this? He said, no, they deserve a break. But I still think that is a slippery slope. What do you think?
I do, too. And look, what's the focus here? It's got to be economic growth. You know, the more that we take out of economic growth and put into things like refundable, advanceable tax credits to people for child care expenses, the more we're taking and aiming something to benefit a group. And granted, it's an important group, families with children.
Why not just try to lower the payroll tax itself, then?
Well, I'm in favor of a rising tide lifting all boats. I want the economy to grow so that every person, whether they have children or not, whether they're married or not, whether they're in a family or not, has a chance to have a greater, better economic future because the economy is growing stronger. And this bill will make our economy better and stronger. Look, we're the only major industrialized country without a territorial tax system. We're taxing the profits of American companies abroad. Why should we then be surprised that those profits are being left abroad to invest in foreign countries, in plants and equipment and merger and acquisitions abroad, rather than strengthening our economy here? And having a lower tax rate that can every CFO of every company can immediately tell what's going to happen to the bottom line is going to increase business investment, which has been what's lagging during this so-called recovery that we've been having since June of 2009. And so I want economic growth to be the primary beneficiary of this. And frankly, we've already have in the House bill and the Senate bill a very generous increase in the child tax credit. I think it's pushed Senators Lee and Rubio. As much as I respect Senator Rubio and Senator Lee, I think are pushing the edge of the envelope by asking it to be both doubled and to make it refundable.
Yeah, I mean, it's already gone from 1,000 to north of 1,600 at a minimum.
Right.
All right, Karl Rove, always good seeing you. Thank you very much.